Alright, alright. So people have been asking, what is my opinion on The Mandalorian? For those of you who don't know, I actually got the flu, and I have been sick since Saturday, and it is now Wednesday night. I'm now just feeling okay enough to be able to walk around. So yeah, it wasn't fun. In fact, I was kind of hoping to do a video more in depth when it came to this episode, and then doing more in depth episodes for the rest of the Mandalorian episodes. But for me, I'm still really not 100%, and I'm still very weak. And I'm just gonna try to just do a quick review, and then that'll be that. Also, if you're wondering about all the mess behind me, I have a lot of cleaning up to do. I've been pushing a lot of stuff around this upstairs here, and that's just kind of the spot things are going because I don't have a spot for them yet. But I'll figure out what to do with those boxes eventually. Anyways, let's begin with my review. So, The Mandalorian just came out, actually, with the release of Disney Plus, which is pretty awesome. I've been watching Even Stevens for a long time. My wife loves Lizzie McGuire, so I've been catching up on some of these older shows that we love, and that's good. But you guys don't care about my opinion on Even Stevens or Lizzie McGuire, which are both excellent shows that put shows that are out today to shame. You kids check them out. They're definitely just so good. You want to hear my thoughts on The Mandalorian? Okay, so let's begin. Did I like it? Yes. I thought it did a great job of kind of introducing us into this new idea of Star Wars that we always kind of had around and had it hinted at, but we never actually saw it done. So now we have this different type of look at Star Wars, but it's not done in a way that's too gross and gritty. It's done in a way that is its own thing, while also still paying homage to the universe itself. So I think overall it's definitely a cool little connection. Now when it comes down to our main character, the Mandalorian, I think he's pretty solid. I understand he doesn't really have much character development yet, but we're going to be getting that later on. So I can't really comment on him yet. Whatever the case, I think it's pretty cool. I like the idea that you don't see his face, so you can kind of put yourself in his shoes better. It's kind of like a video game when you don't see the main character's face and you're playing a first-person shooter, or your character has a helmet or whatever. Usually if you're playing a first-person shooter, you don't see your character's face. So you can then take your face and put it on your character, and so it's you out there traveling. So I think it's a very interesting way of being able to do that while also still being cohesive with the world, because that's how Mandalorians are. You know, they put on helmets and then they don't take off their helmets because they don't reveal their identities. So I think that's a really cool little thing that they added into the story, because that has been around for a long time. As an example, like Jakku. Jakku is the exact same planet as Tatooine. Why don't you just use Tatooine? Why make up an entirely new concept when you have an existing concept that works perfectly fine? And I think that's what the Mandalorian did. Instead of making a new type of warrior race, they actually just were like, the Mandalorians are cool. Let's actually make them cool. And I think that is something that was done right. Now, of course, this is only episode 1, so when we're talking story, there isn't much story yet. 8 episodes coming out. So that means we have 1 out already, so we have 7 more coming. So since it is only part 1, there are 7 more parts coming. So as far as a pilot for the TV show goes, I think it does a great job. There is probably 1 complaint out of the entire show that I can even think about, and it's not really a complaint as much as it's kind of just me personally. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to reveal exactly what I'm talking about, although you probably already know. But in the very end of the episode, he goes to find his target, and he ends up riding this like little like mutated dinosaur thing, and I get it. You know, it's Star Wars, it's supposed to be out of this world, but the issue with that is the design for the creature is like lazy to me. It just looks meh. Now, I don't know, that could just be me. Maybe every other fan who watched this show loved that dinosaur little raptor creature thing. I think it was called a Quark or Spork. It was something like that. It was definitely like a name that sounded like it was made up in a second. So I'm not going to attack it too much, but it is one of those examples of how Disney is dealing with the Star Wars licensing. They are not committing to making the creatures and the planets and the new characters, you know, cohesive with the established world that we've seen already. A good example of this is in Rogue One, when K2 saves Jin, like near the beginning, they named a planet like Wanobi, and it's like, really guys, like, just use an existing planet. Or don't use an existing planet, but put more thought into the name. If you look online, it actually says that they named that planet specifically to reference Kenobi, and it's just like, but you just made a planet. You know what I mean? You made a planet. You got to establish the ecosystem. You have to establish what exactly the reason for why people would be on the planet in the first place. Do you know? You can't just make a planet to make a planet. You know, there has to be more cohesion to a planet. That's kind of how like George Lucas would focus on the world. Instead of just making a planet to make a planet, he would give a reason for why the planet is the way it is. But Disney just kind of makes things because, here, take this stuff. Take this stuff. And that's the reason why I'm focusing mostly on those little lizard things, because the truth is, they are a good example of the bad that Disney has done so far. So, while they're not that bad, as far as this story goes, they're an example of the bad that Disney has done. So we want to have less of that and more of the good stuff like we got in this show. But like I said, this could all just be my opinion. Now I know I said there would be no spoilers, but there is one thing I definitely just have to talk about. So if you don't want any spoilers, click away now, or just hang in there if you don't care, because I'm going to talk about the spoilers. Okay, now we got to talk about the Baby Yoda creature. So there are 3 things that come to my mind here. First off, are we going to learn the actual name for Yoda's species? For if you are an avid Star Wars fan, you will know that Yoda never actually had his species named by Lucas, because Lucas just liked to keep it unknown. It was just like one of those little, you know, Easter egg things in the universe that no one ever explained. And it's not any lore, not canon, no nothing. So that's actually pretty cool. Number 2, why is this creature there? Why were they protecting him? Do you know? Why are the Imperials after him? It's just crazy. And at number 3, I have my theory on this. So here's my idea. I think that this little creature is Force sensitive. I have heard in the past, now this was in Legends, so technically it's not part of canon, but it's one of those things that could totally be brought into canon, because why not? So Yoda's species is just inherently good with the Force. Super powerful when it comes to the midichlorian counts. So my theory is that this little guy has a very high midichlorian count, and the Imperials are actually after him to either kill him or to actually capture him, and then maybe train him as their own to help them take back over the galaxy. So as we know, 30 years later, that doesn't exactly work out, because we have the Resistance and the First Order, and the First Order is pretty much just a fraction of the Empire anyways. So maybe this little creature had a hand in helping in the future. Probably not, but it would be pretty cool to kind of see where they take that. I think the writers are going to try to make us believe that the Imperials are going to try to kill the little beast, but then we find out, along with the Mandalorian, that they actually don't want to kill him. They want to take him and train him for themselves. So that's my theory. What is your theory on that? Let me know in the comments below. But I guess that's just my review for this entire episode. Like I said, guys, I was sick, but I'm back. I missed out on a lot of recording time, man, so I got a lot of work to make up. But thank you guys for watching. How do you feel about this episode? Overall, I think it was very solid, and I'm very excited for episode 2. Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more videos. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace. Now it's time for me to go back to bed. Catch you guys later. This is one of those most iconic scenes in all of cinema. But if you're going to go back and you're going to throw a boulder in front of R2-D2, or add like a bunch of stormtroopers riding dewbacks in the backgrounds and foregrounds, and put like big ugly butts of beasts walking by the screen and covering up what's going on, why wouldn't you just update the lightsaber effects? I don't really get that part. Or at least improve the lightsaber color to better match the darker blue we see in Revenge of the Sith. This isn't particularly a criticism of the film, but more of a point of oversight by George Lucas.